thing about this team. It just doesn't make sense. So, anyway, end of rant. Let's move on to practice highlights. So there's a lot here. I love it when it breaks it down, when AI will grab stuff and just break it down into individual plays, right? And kind of give you, all right, here's a specific look at what happens. So here are the practice highlights. One-on-ones highlight was Malik Willis, long touchdown pass to Malik Heath, who overpowered cornerback Micah Robinson. And we got a video there. I believe I've got it queued up here. So let's go to this real quick. We're going to talk a little bit about Malik Heath because you guys know I've been much higher on him than I think most people have, right? And this play here, I think this is it, actually. Let's mute that. So this is the play to Malik Heath. Oh, did it? Nope, it took me to the website. Hold on just a second here. Let's see if we can get this thing to trigger up. All right, here we go. So you see Malik Heath, no pass rush. Listen, this is just a one-on-one right here. But look at Malik Heath here. Watch the hands. Look at the strong hands, guys. And listen, Micah Robinson, to me, that ain't a huge negative mark there. It's definitely not a positive, but Micah Robinson plays this pretty darn good. I mean, look, he's all over the coverage, right? He's fighting through the hands, but this is what Malik Heath does. This is why I said going into training camp that I would keep Malik Heath over Bo Melton. And I love Bo Melton. Bo Melton is a team guy, special teams contributor, huge special teams contributor, faster 40 time than Christian Watson. He's got a lot to work with there. But Malik Heath, it just seems like he always makes the most out of his opportunities, and he doesn't have that many opportunities. But is this catch, am I wrong in the chat here, guys? This catch right here is just like, this is phenomenal. This is, you can tell, I mean, look at him holding the ball too. Like his hands look huge. He just seems like he's really coming into his own here. That's a hell of a catch out there. Heck of a catch, man. So Malik Heath, I wanted to show that highlight, and let's get back to the article because I want to point out what I've been talking about. When you look at the statistics from last year with Malik Heath, here on this image here, if you guys can see it, hopefully you can see it good enough. Notice the catch rate over expected, okay? And we've explained what catch rate over expected is. Listen, you guys can go look up the actual definition. It's essentially, these are the guys, it takes into account the situation they're put in as opposed to just blanket statistics, right? His catch rate over expected was plus 9.7%. Next is Christian Watson at a plus 5.2%. Then Romeo Doubs plus 2.9%. Jaden Reed, 1.2%. Bo Melton was a negative 6.9%. And there you see Dontavion Wicks. We talk about how he struggled last year. His catch percentage was a 51.3%. His catch rate over expected, a minus 12.4%. But go back to Malik Heath for a second. Look at his catch percentage. He led the entire receiving room in catch percentage at 76.9%, okay? And his catch rate over expected at a 9.7% in the positive. Now, his yards per reception, nowhere near Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, Bo Melton, he was closer to Bo Melton and Dontavion Wicks, obviously, at a 9.7 there. They were at 11.4, 10.6. Christian Watson was second in the entire National Football League at 21.4 yards per reception. I think Alec Pierce he led the league in that, with the Indianapolis Colts. So the yards per reception, what that tells me is notice how it's, it's much lower. That's kind of a boundary X guy. And what did you see just now in that catch? That's what you want a boundary X guy to do. You want him to be able to play in a phone booth. And what that means is whether it's creating slight separation and making a contested catch underneath, or in a phone booth down the sideline when you have to hit, when they're in a two-man under and you want to try to throw what would be a hole shot in a cover two zone defense, but it's two-man under, you want a guy who can play that ball in tight coverage. Malik Heath, to me, should make this roster. And not only should he make the roster, he should be given more opportunities. Now, I say that and look at the names in the room. Now, Christian Watson starting on the pup. Do I think Malik Heath should get more targets than Romeo Doubs? Absolutely not. Jaden Reed? Absolutely not. Bo Melton? Yes. Of course, Bo Melton's probably going to just play corner now. Dontavion Wicks? It's tough for me to say this because Dontavion Wicks is really good at creating separation. But, Malik Heath only got 13 targets, right? Dontavion Wicks got 76 targets. Imagine if we had taken 20 of those targets and gave it to Malik Heath and got him up to 33. Don't you think with the catch rate over expected, if he continued at that rate or even dropped slightly and put him on par with a Christian Watson or a Romeo Doubs still in the positive, think of how much more productive the offense would have been as opposed to Dontavion Wicks. Now, Wicks is having a good camp other than the calf injury, obviously. And we talk about you can't make the club in the tub. Listen, there's no chance that Dontavion Wicks does not make this roster, right? I'm not saying that at all. But this is what we mean by can't make the club in the tub. Malik Heath getting that extra look last night, and you see him once again, him showcasing those skills. Now, with that being said, maybe Malik Heath, where this receiver room's kind of loaded, maybe he's a trade candidate. I'm simply saying if it were me, I want that physicality. I want that blocking ability. I want that being able to play in a phone booth, the strong hands, the catch rate over expected to be utilized for the Packers this year. That's just me personally. So, again, Malik Heath, I think, is one to watch here in preseason. And guys, we got preseason football coming up. Let me pull up the calendar real quick. Preseason football. So it's next Saturday, 7 p.m. Man, it's going to be exciting. I cannot wait, dude. It's going to be I can't wait to get on here the next day and just break down all of the details of what happened there in that. So let's move it along here. 11-on-11 start. So defense strong, right? You got defensive tackle Kenny Clark stopped Josh Jacobs near the line of scrimmage, all right? Linebacker Edgerrin Cooper stopped the end around by Matthew Golden for a loss, and Clark stopped Jacobs again. Kenny Clark showed up family night, boys and girls. And again, I've been as hard on Kenny Clark as anyone on this particular show, probably of anyone who covers the Packers, to be honest with you. I didn't like us giving him that contract extension a couple years ago personally. Last year, if you just looked at the stat column, you go, boy, Kenny played horrible. When you turn on the tape, you've seen a lot of touch spy. And you guys remember me telling you I really wanted to see him in a 3-tech in a base 4-3. Throw TJ Slayton in the 1 in the nickel 2-4 or 4-2-5, and then Kenny Clark in the 3. And when you rotate, Devontae Wyatt comes in. Don't be afraid to put Devontae Wyatt in a 1-tech. Let Kenny eat, right? For whatever reason, they really like to play Kenny, not always, but most of the time in that 1-tech or shade, which basically says you're the nose tackle. The reason that matters is you're forcing him to take on a double team. Typically, it's the center and the guard. When you put somebody in a 1-tech, which a 1-tech, guys, really, really simple, is you're lining up in between the guard and the center. So imagine with this, I can't put my cursor on the screen for you guys here with this. It's just a screen grab overlay. But notice, look at the center. Look at that one, the number 1 there in the gap on the defensive side, right? So when you're playing that 1-tech, on the opposite side, you got a 3. So you've got your 3-tech in between the guard and the tackle, right? And then you've got the 1-tech in between the center and the guard. And then you got another 5-7 or wide 9 on the opposite side, 5-7 or wide 9 on the other end. What you're forcing is the tackles to block 1-on-1. And you're basically forcing the guard and the center to double team block the 1-tech. So you're thinking, Clayton, why don't you like Kenny in that spot? I don't like Kenny in that spot because I want him in a 1-on-1 situation on the outside shoulder of the guard in a 3-tech so he can get to the quarterback, right? Well, lo and behold, they play him there predominantly in the 1-tech all year long, and we've seen him touch spine. That's why it's important you need to watch the tape. You go to the tape and you see, man, he's touched spine a lot. Touch spine is real simple. You engage with the blockers, but you're not trying to get to the quarterback. You're kind of a quarter, maybe spending a quarter of your energy forcing the pocket a little bit, but you got eyes on the quarterback and you're keen on the run before the pass. You're kind of just playing it safe. It's almost like what it sounds like. You touch the offensive lineman and you're spying the QB. So when you see Kenny do that week in and week out, and we kept calling it out on Chalk Talk, it made you wonder, why did we do that? And my mind went to, well, they know they're going to try to double team him anyway. Why not just handicap him right off the bat and let Devontae Wyatt go eat, which he did until he hurt his ankle. Well, we find out at the end of the year, Kenny Clark was injured. That makes sense. So you go, Kenny can't pin his ears back and rush the passer because of the foot injury, the toe injury, right? He's going to play through it, but he's not nearly as effective as he could be. Why not us go ahead and make sure we win the hat count by putting him in the 1-tech, and he can use his instincts to play the spy and help cover against the run and let Devontae Wyatt get up the quarterback. That's what happened. I say all that, and it's long-winded to get to what I wanted to point out here, which is simply it looks like Kenny's flashing right now in camp. So he's fully healthy. We know that. What if this is the year that we use him in a little bit different role? And, maybe offenses come out, they watch the tape and go, yeah, they like to do a lot of touch spy with Kenny with that 97. So let's make sure we fan our protection towards 95, Devontae Wyatt, because he's just going to kind of spy the QB. And then what if they start pinning his ears back and he gets after the quarterback and you do a little touch spying with Devontae Wyatt from time to time? You could see how I think this type of mindset, this type of approach is exactly what Jeff Hafley was talking about in his presser the other day. In that press conference, he said, we've already got our install done and we've already got adjustments ready. Meaning, if teams key in on what they're doing early, maybe it's a touch spy aspect. It's multifaceted, all three levels, right? The defensive front, the second level there with the stack backer look, and then of course your safeties and your corners if they're playing off. That type of stuff right there, he's ready. If they attack Kenny a different way, let's adjust. That's just one example of what I think he meant by that, if that makes sense. We got a super chat here from Tron. Says, Clay, which rook this year has the biggest impact? Man, the one I keep coming back to, Tron, if you're talking defense specifically, if I had to pick one on each side of the ball, let's do that. And I'll be real brief and we'll get back to the practice breakdown. If I had to pick one on each side of the ball, on defense, Nazir Stackhouse getting a lot of love. But I'm telling you, man, with how heavy our rotation is at edge, if they get Barron Sorrell on the field, I'm kind of leaning toward Barron Sorrell. So on defense, I would say let's really watch Barron Sorrell in preseason and see. Really, it comes down to that. Barron Sorrell and Nazir Stackhouse. Those are the two I want to have my eyes on in the preseason, right? On offense, it's Matthew Golden. Now, how much will we see him in the preseason? I don't know. But on offense, it's Matthew Golden and probably Savion, to be honest with you. I know it's a kind of an easy, low fruit answer, I guess you could say. But Savion, if he's healthy, I wouldn't be surprised if Savion ends up being a better player than Matthew Golden. Because the reason I say this, because when you turn on the college tape with Savion, that ain't a knock against Golden at all. If you guys watch this show consistently, I love Matthew Golden, man. I haven't seen a rookie wide receiver come into camp and do what he did. But when you look at Savion, they asked him to play Wildcat quarterback at TCU. They asked him to play running back. They asked him to play wing. They asked him to play X. They put him in the slot. But you didn't really see an opportunity where he was just playing receiver predominantly. And I know the Packers aren't going to do that either. But I say that because he's not been trained up properly to play wide receiver or slot, right? Now he's got an NFL coaching staff with their hands on him, teaching him how to be a receiver. And along the way, let's line his big 222-pound carcass up in the backfield and just run over some nickel corners. That would be fun, right? And now you can kind of play chess and not checkers when it comes to the whole personnel department, or the personnel aspect, I should say. What I mean by that is when you put Savion on the field and they read 11 personnel, 3 wide receiver sets, all right, let's go nickel. And then all of a sudden, Savion might as well be a hybrid tight end, or now he can play running back. Man, it just becomes multifaceted on how you can attack. But those would be mine that I would watch. Tron, I actually gave you 4 there, right? Barron Sorrell and Nazir Stackhouse really got my attention. Now, watch Warren Brinson end up being an absolute stud. We'll give you an update on him in a second. But those are the 2 I'm interested on defense and the 2 on offense. So Anthony Belton, too, in preseason. I want to see how he holds up against other, second teamers in the NFL. See if he kind of carries over his success from college. That would be fun, too. Chris Casuan with Super Chat. Thank you, buddy. Don't forget about the warm Krispy Kreme. I owe you. Oh, that's right, man. Man, I was thinking about Krispy Kreme last night. We were leaving the Speedway, and I tossed, you know what I'd like to have right now? Some Krispy Kreme donuts. Based off my morning, I'm glad we didn't do that. So we'll just keep it at that. Yeah, I want to have those sent to somebody, Chris. So we'll do that giveaway soon. Keep reminding me, man. That would be fun. What we'll do is have you DoorDash them to somebody. And if it gets expensive with the DoorDash fee, I'll help cover that charge too. So appreciate you, Chris. Thank you for the Super Chat, man. All right, we got to go rapid fire. I've talked way too much. When the guys aren't here to keep me in line, this happens. All right, so we talked about Kenny Clark, 3rd and 6 conversion, love to Musgrave, aided by running back Chris Brooks picking up a blitzer. All right. Rookie wide receiver Savion Williams, 3rd-round pick, caught a 25-yard pass from Willis on the first snap, but missed much of camp due to injuries and didn't finish the practice. So you see he got a little bit of work there. Obviously caught a 25-yard pass from Malik Willis. Rookie defensive lineman Warren Brinson, 6th-rounder, right? stuffed rookie running back Amar Johnson later forced an errant throw by Love with an interior rush. Just got through talking about how I was excited about Nazir Stackhouse, his former teammate Warren Brinson. Flashed a little bit in family night. This is going to be fun, man. Preseason is going to be a lot of fun watching these young defensive linemen play. I want to see Warren Brinson and Nazir Stackhouse on the field together, right? You know what you got in Wyatt. He's a starter. You know what you got in Kenny. He's a starter. Don't risk hurting those guys. They don't need the extra reps, in my opinion. Get those two guys out there, the Bash brothers out there, the former Georgia Bulldogs, right? Get them out there and let them rush together. It's going to be a lot of fun. This one's awesome. So Lucas Van Ness sacked Love by beating left tackle Jordan Morgan. I say it's awesome. Some people are going, that ain't good, Clayton. We don't want Jordan Morgan losing, right, if he's going to be our left tackle. But listen, when it comes to that, it is what it is. You know, it's positive for Lucas Van Ness. Obviously, it's a negative for Jordan Morgan. We got the rep here, actually. Who posted this? Looks like Lambeau. Actually, it was originally Matt Schneidman, but I picked it up from Lambeau Leapers. All right. Lambeau Leapers, Brazil. All right. Love it. So here you go. This is the play here. Van Ness down here at the bottom of the screen. You see he's kind of in that wide 9 look. Some would call it a 7. I'm good with that. So you see there's a tight end on that side. Here's Jordan Morgan. I'm imagining the tight end is either going to sift over or he's going out in the route. Let's roll it here and just let it loop. Just a straight bull rush right back in. Yeah. That, to me, that looks like a pretty bad Jordan Morgan rep there. I mean, his footwork looked horrible there, right? Chris the casual end, who's a big Rasheed Walker truther, he gonna love to pile on this one, I promise you. But again, you just see the speed off the jump there, off the snap with Lucas Van Ness, just a little bull, just way too powerful for Jordan Morgan. Not a good rep there. Coach Lynn said, Morgan is not a left tackle. I'm not ready to say that yet, Coach, but this looks a lot different from Rasheed Walker, does it not? Rasheed Walker really holds up well at the point of attack here. But you got to give LVN credit too, man. Just runs right through his face. And then, of course, you got Jordan Morgan. Bad footwork there. Really, really bad footwork. It's kind of scary too. What's Jordan Love's legs there? He gets stepped on right there. Listen, tip your cap to LVN. He blows up Jordan Morgan, but notice how he doesn't – and maybe real easy to get excited there and just try to run through his face and you end up stepping on Jordan Love's ankle or something. Watch Jordan's feet here. Me no likey that, Jan. Don't like that at all. Like, hey, we got to keep our quarterback upright. So that is that rep there that we mentioned when it comes to Lucas Van Ness and the sack. And Coach, I'm not ready to ride him off at left tackle yet, but I cannot disagree with that. That tape right there did not look like a left tackle, right? Did not look like a left tackle. So, all right, let's move along here. We've got bad snap. So we talked about Donovan Jennings with the bad snaps. For whatever reason, they're trying to cross-train him at center, right? He airmailed one to Sean Clifford, remove the next play. I'm hoping that AI didn't just snatch that from the practice the other day and throw it in. If you guys remember seeing that on Family Night, chime in the chat there just to confirm. But when I see Donovan Jennings playing at center, it feels like Sean Ryan's the backup center and Jacob Monk is just behind Sean Ryan as the backup to the backup center. Kind of feels like Donovan Jennings probably not going to make this roster. Now, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it does feel like they're trying to, well, let's see if there's any value there before they move on. I could be wrong, and injuries could change that quick. But nonetheless, he airmailed that snap there for sure. Coach Lynn says Belton looked like a left tackle. Let's go. I'll keep my eye on that this preseason. And maybe he's the answer in the future at left tackle. That's why you spend a second-round pick on him, right? So it's looking more and more like keep Rasheed Walker, which I think we should at least for this year. Let him play left tackle. Get Anthony Belton ready to take over for him next year as he walks into free agency if you don't decide to pay him. And then let's just play Jordan Morgan at right guard. You know, that's what it kind of feels like there. So, all right, moving along. Deep pass, Love to Matthew Golden, incomplete with transition cornerback Bo Melton in good position. Boy, I'm telling you, Bo Melton, you guys know when they first put him out at corner, I said, oh, writing's on the wall for Bo, kind of like what I just said for Donovan Jennings. I think I'm probably way off on that opinion, that early opinion that I have. It seems like Bo Melton is almost a slam dunk to make this roster because of special teams value, and he's starting to kind of show up as a corner. That's really exciting. Here we've got Kalen King, all right, Reed Willis. So we have Malik Willis, I think it was, a read pass to Julian Hicks when no one open. That's really poorly written there, AI, but I think we've got the video here. So this is the Kalen King interception. I can't remember if I showed it already. Let's go ahead and pop it up on the screen here. So Kalen King flashed on this play. This was Wes Hodkowitz. I can't remember if I already showed it, didn't I, guys? That was when he jumped the route. Yeah. Yeah, that's when he jumped the route. So again, it was just being mentioned in the individual play. So we've covered that. Don't want to glance over it too much because, again, it was a nice play. But Kalen King, that's the type of stuff you want to see another player to look for in preseason for sure. Run stops, rookie linebacker Jamin Johnson stopped rookie linebacker Israel. So it meant running back. There's a typo. Israel Abani Konda twice. No possible typo, likely running back. There it is. AI said, hey, we screwed that up. We're not going to change it for you, though, Clay Dog. So he obviously, rookie linebacker Jamie Johnson. I feel like he was a rookie last year, too, which I guess he's not into his second year yet, hasn't played a single snap yet. So AI may continue to read that as a rookie. But he stuffed Abani Konda twice there. So nice little set of plays. Then you got Carl Brooks, Kingsley, and Nabare stuffed Amar Johnson on back-to-back runs. So they seem to be playing the run, picking up right where they left off last year. Up next, Carrington Valentine. 4 interceptions. I think I've got this interception. Then I'll put the notes back up on the screen for you guys. I think we got it right here. Yeah. So we had Carrington Valentine with a nice interception during family night. Make sure I get the right one up on the screen for you guys. And hopefully we're describing this well enough for everybody on the pod. I apologize if we're not, but here we go. So kind of an errant throw there, right? I'm thinking, is that Love that threw that? We'll find out here in a second. Let's let it play back. Obviously got the Lambeau leap from Carrington Valentine. You love to see it. And again, him just playing the ball. It just seems like Carrington's always in the right place at the right time. Yeah, that was Love. So it looks like the receiver maybe, I don't know if it's a misread there. So that was Matthew Golden, right? That was definitely Matthew Golden. Let's go back here. Let's try to loop it. So Matthew Golden, he pulls up almost like he was expecting one of those underneath choice routes. And for whatever reason, kind of broke the route off. Love thought he was going deep. But again, good hands by Carrington Valentine. Our boy just always seems to be able to get that head around and play the ball. And that's definitely something Jeff Hafley has preached. So really, really excited to see Carrington Valentine. You guys know I was really big on him last year. Still am, to be honest with you. I think he's a guy that's got a ton of upside. Didn't expect the second-year jump that Carrington had last year, but boy, oh boy, am I glad it happened. So nice play on the ball there by Carrington Valentine. Now, back to the notes here so we can stay on topic. I can't wait to get into Omar Brown, man. That's going to be a fun little breakdown. Malik Willis 2-minute drill started at the 35 with 120, 3rd and 1 completion to Will Shepard. We got a Will Shepard signing, guys, 10 yards there. Then he was sacked by rookie defensive end Barron Sorrell, who beat Anthony Belton. That's exciting. So you got a 4th-round pick in Barron Sorrell out of Texas, beating your 2nd-round pick, offensive tackle Anthony Belton out of NC State. Some people look at that and go, oh, man, Belton played like crap. To me, that's more about a 4th-round pick beating a 2nd-round pick. I'm telling you, there's something about Barron Sorrell. It just feels good, man. It feels like that dude, when you see him, first of all, next to Rashawn Gary and some of these pros, and it's just like, this dude looks like an NFL pass rusher. I'm really, really excited to see what Barron Sorrell does in the preseason. I know I've said it 1,000 times. Kicker, Brandon McManus, 8 of 8 on field goals, including 50, 54, 51. He was 36 of 37 in camp overall. LaFleur said, quote, pretty consistent, avoiding the jinx. So Brandon McManus, again, there's not a whole lot to cover there other than the fact that, boy, oh boy, do we have us a kicker. And I'm so excited about it, man. I'm so excited to know that if we're down by 2 points in a pinch, if it's within 50 yards, in some cases you see here 50, 54, 51, if it's within 50 yards, you really like your chances of McManus hitting that field goal. Now, listen, I think he finished the year 93%. You guys correct me if I'm wrong there, if you know the actual percentage. Well over 90% field goal percentage last year. I don't expect that this year. I am curbing the enthusiasm. That is not normal. If he comes out and does it again, that's absolutely awesome. But I'm expecting him to be closer to the 85% range, and that's all I want, man. That's all I want. That means is if you had to go out there and kick 100 kicks, you're making 85 out of 100. That is way better than what we got used to with the kicker carousel, right? Now, if he cracks 90% again, might want to name a street after the guy. I'm just telling you. That's right. Greg Rice says Brandon McMoney. Yes, There you go. 2-0 for this says, heck, McManus could nail a quarter mile. Telling you, man, I love it. He just, again, I know he's going to miss. But when I'm watching Packer football on Sundays now, when we march the kicker out there, I got to the point before we signed McManus, I'd just go get a drink. I'll find out if he hit it here in a minute. I don't want to watch it. So with McManus, though, I find myself just rooting for him. Like, man, let's drive this thing through. Big leg on that guy, too. Wow, Bates, that is awesome. 95.2%. He was 20 for 21 last year. And he led the league, I believe, in field goal percentage. The only person higher than him had like less than 10 kicks or something like that. It might have even been less than 5 kicks. So, yeah, really, really got a lot of faith in Brandon McManus kicking field goals. So, all right, here we go. Crowd, 59,175. It was down slightly from the 60,887 last year and 65,222 in 2023. So taking a slight dip, but still, when you get 59,000 fans showing up family night, man, oh man, that's good stuff. And it says quarterback drill. Love and others did Lambeau leaps after throwing into the hoop, which we showed you that stuff. So there you go. That is your kind of play-by-play breakdown, right, of